everything. Yeah, I began as a teacher. Actually, I began as a volunteer in my kids' school when they were little, but as a teacher, and then I became a staff development teacher trainer. Then I moved off and started a school and became a principal eventually. After that, I was a deputy superintendent and then a superintendent, and so I've had a lot of jobs. Yeah. Sometimes I think it sounds like I can't keep a job, but I was having such a ball. You know, I retired to take care of these grandbabies. I have 5 of them now, but I was having so much fun playing with them, kind of getting them ready for the world of literacy, and sharing my own joy of it, and it just seemed so much fun. And people said, "Oh, why don't you write about that?" And then I started sharing it with other parents, and I had teachers said, "Oh, I could do that with my kindergarten kids. I could do that in my daycare center." So then we put it together just like that, and it kind of wrote itself because I had to think, what shouldn't I write? How do I make it not big? Because I'm with them 4 full days a week. I take care of the babies Monday through Thursday, so it's a lot of hours to kind of entertain them. Oh, I think if I had, the old desert island question, if I could only take one thing, it would be a good book. It's the read aloud. It has to be the read aloud. Just joyfully and rereading, not just reading, but rereading and playing with it and making it part of your everyday conversation. So, kids refer back to it and, pretend to read it and hold it upside down and say, I could read it myself. It has to be the read aloud. That, above all, is the read aloud.
Great.
Well, I wrote about that in the book because, I think there's so many ways kids understand stories, and some of it has to do with drama and acting it out and using props to make the story come alive and retell the story through toys. And, for some of our kids, some of the books I can say to the kids, which of your stuffed animals do you think would enjoy hearing the story and why? Just pushing them to think more, because you read and you want them to look at the world differently, look at themselves differently, and somehow they do it easier when they're little through their toys. That was always fun. Just reading the cover of books too, just looking at visuals and pictures, not just toys, but thinking about what that person's feeling. We were looking at the window here in the workshop just now with my grandson, and there was a ticket agent giving a ticket to a taxi driver, and I in essence asked him to read her face. What kind of mood do you think she's in? And the little one said she's happy, and the big one said she doesn't look happy to me. But that's part of it, just figuring out the way life works, and reading people's gestures and moods, etc. So the toys, I think it helps with the dramatic play, for sure. Yeah, choosing the right toys. Well, I guess my greatest concern is that we're trying to teach kids to read too young, too early, that the pressures. I started to say that in the session, and I realized I never finished my sentence, but I think there are occasions when rooms are empty, and I would walk in as superintendent, and the truth was you couldn't tell it was a kindergarten class anymore. When I think back to my kindergarten age, there were water tables, there were sand tables, there were blocks, and everyone's in the business of teaching kids to read, and I think some of our kids are never going to have an opportunity to play, and I think that's a big mistake. So for me, I think, waiting a little bit longer, it'll come more naturally to a lot more kids, and they won't be labeled as failures so young. So I think that's a big one, and certainly not to test them early on as well.
And it sounds like the play you're talking about leads right into literacy and reading.
Oh, for sure. If it's joyful and it makes human sense and it's a good story. If it's not a good story, it's not worth telling, and it's not worth listening. It's certainly not worth rereading. So it's all about story.
Great. Thank you very much.